Hello, friends. Welcome to Dr. Rajesh Verma's YouTube channel. And I'll be talking about today with you the generalized anxiety disorders. So these are very, very important, and you must know. Okay, we'll be discussing in our subsequent slides all the points. Now, let us start with some definition, introduction of what anxiety disorders. So, I'll be going to differentiate first between anxiety disorders and general anxiety disorders. That is a true important point that we will differentiate. So, first we'll be studying the anxiety disorders. The term anxiety is usually defined as a diffused, vague, very unpleasant feeling of fear and apprehension. So this is the what is said key features of anxiety. This means individual have a diffused, vague, very unpleasant feeling and of fear. That is of fear and apprehension. If there is a combination of these symptoms in an individual, certainly we can say that individual might be suffering from the anxiety. So let us uh, differentiate between GAD and anxiety disorders. But anxiety disorder is the most common neurotic disorder. Anxiety disorder comes under the domain of the neurosis. Anxiety is anticipation of future threats. The level of anxiety that are distressing and interfere with day-to-day effective functioning indicate the presence of anxiety disorder. So this is the important diagnostic criteria, you can say, or the characteristics or the key feature of the anxiety is that the distressing feeling, the distressing worry, the apprehension of the threat, the diffused and vague fears, when they start interfering with your day-to-day activities, then we can safely say that individual has contacted or started showing the symptoms of anxiety disorders. Again, I'm repeating anxiety disorders. See, it keeps the individual in a constant state of tension, worry, and diffused uneasiness. So, this is the point here. Means constantly this individual is under the threat of apprehension, threat of fear, in the worry. So, if you find these symptoms in someone, so you can safely predict that individual may be suffering from the anxiety. So these are the things that is related with the anxiety. Now I was telling the discrimination between that is differentiation between the anxiety and generalized anxiety disorders. So as far as your anxiety is concerned, that is apprehension of future threat, fear, worry, vague, diffused ideas. So these all comes under the domain of anxiety. Whereas generalized anxiety disorders are concerned, they are little bit different between the anxiety disorders. There are various type of anxiety disorders. That is one. Generalized anxiety disorder is one of them. Then phobic disorders, panic disorders, then you can say obsessive compulsive disorders, and finally the post traumatic stress disorders. There are the five type of anxiety disorders. So generalized anxiety disorder is one of the anxiety disorders, and anxiety disorders comes under the domain of neurosis. So in this way you can say it is subdomain that and general anxiety disorder is the subdomain of neurosis. Getting my point means anxiety disorder is the domain of the neurosis, whereas generalized anxiety disorder is the sub domain of the anxiety disorders. Getting my point? So this is the major one of the difference. The next difference is will be covering in the introductory part. You know something about the anxiety disorder which I discussed right now. Whereas the GAD is concerned, it's a type of anxiety disorder. I told you it consists of prolonged, vague, and unpleasant intense fears that are not attached to any particular object or event or situation. Means the fears are prolonged, fears are vague, fears are not connected to or associated with any object or event. Without any object, without any threat, individuals start fearing. This is the major one of the difference between anxiety and generalized anxiety disorders. Whereas the worry is the key characteristics or feature of the generalized anxiety disorders. The worry is found constantly. If an individual is more than 6 months, okay, we'll be discussing that in the diagnostic criteria. But you say worry is the point, worry is the main feature that defines the GAD. Getting my point? So in this condition, the individual worries about the quality of their social and non-social performance and tends to overestimate the danger in situations. What is that? Suppose there is a small rat. Sorry, there is a small rat. That individual start fearing that rat might bite me or that may chew my legs, chew my fingers. So it's a very dangerous situation. See the situation. Due to that, it's a very small, because this is not threat also, right? It is not threat also. Or someone, if you're driving on a highway and that individual suffering from the GAD is sitting by the side and see that one car or one vehicle is coming with very high speed from the front. In that situation, that individual who's likely to suffer from GAD will interpret that that vehicle will directly ram into us and will make us just like break us into pieces. We're going to die right now. So that will make the individual suffer from the intense fears, and that is the resultant of the symptoms of the generalized anxiety disorder. That is the meaning, that overestimating the danger in situations. Though there is a obvious danger, there may be a accident, the individual may ram into us, but it is not that much potent danger that can ruin our life. There is chances that it can be, it cannot happen, but where that individual suffering from the GAD will interpret that it is certainly going to happen, and that fear overcomes that individual and starts showing the symptoms of you say GAD. So I told you the key feature is, you say, persistent and excessive worry, anxiety, and about various domains that the individual find difficult to control. That I told you, the excessive worry is the key feature where the individual is incapable of controlling that worry. That cannot control that. If individual controls that, that is neither excessive worry nor individual is suffering from the GAD. So there is excessive worry and individual cannot control that. This is the basic difference between anxiety and generalized anxiety disorders. Getting a point? Next, in addition, the individual shows some physical symptoms such as restlessness. Then comes the easily fatigued, difficulty in concentrating or focusing some attention on some object. Then comes the irritability, muscular tension, sleep disturbances. These are some physiological symptoms that is manifested by the person suffering from the GAD. And the females are at the double the risk of getting into the trap than the males. Means females are at the double of the risk, twice as the male likely to suffer from the GAD. So this is a very, very important point. The female students, female teachers who are watching this video must remain aware and conscious that this can be very potent threat to them. But it is not that it is a threat to everyone. There may be some certain reasons. What are the causal reasons? We'll be discussing in our subsequent slides. So you know to fear that being a female, you are going to suffer from the GAD. No, no, no. This is not what I want to say. The point is the females are at the double the risk of the males. Okay. Now let us go some symptoms. What are the some symptoms of the generalized anxiety disorders? First one is the increased, your heart rate will increase and individual finds it difficult in the breathing. That is the shortness of the breath. Then comes the it makes very, very tough for individual to take decisions in day-to-day life or about some major events, because that time the cognitive resources are involved in expressing the generalized anxiety disorders and symptoms. That is symptoms. So in that case it becomes difficult for individual to make the decisions. Then comes the individual finds difficult to or inability to concentrate on some object or event. Then the fainting and dizziness is common commonly found in the individual suffering from the GAD. Then, sorry, extreme sensitivity to situations or some provocations. That also one of the important symptom. Then the tremors, the body start trembling because when your muscles get tense, and your heart rate increases, suddenly your body start trembling, and as a consequence, feels the difficulty in having sound sleep. That is, the sleeplessness is also one of the key symptom. Then, if along with that, your internal hormonal system, that is your digestive system, everything get affected negatively. In that case, your you feel loss of appetite. Individual doesn't feel like to have some food. Then that leads to the all these symptoms. If your muscles are tense, then certainly you are going to profusely sweat. So sweating is excessive one. Then frequent urination. Individual feels to visit the loo frequently due to the presence of the generalized anxiety disorder. Then discouragement. Individual doesn't like to do some activity. This is demotivated one because that symptoms are such due to fear and excessive worry. There is the individual lacks the confidence and the motivation to do activity. Sustained muscular tension, as told you, and there is a other point is hypervigilance. Individual always scans the environment for the potent dangers. If I am standing here, I will see the fan is moving. The fan is working right now, but there is chances that fan will drop on my head and it will break my head, or sometimes the blades will cut my neck, or sometimes this wall will fall on me. So these are the some or some that bulb that may burst, that is glowing in front of me. So these are all the environmental cues or environmental objects, and what the individual suffering from the GAD interpret them as a potent dangers. That leads to the your increased heart rate, shortness of breath, muscular tension, profuse sweating, and everything. These all the other activities. So these are the all general symptoms that are manifested by the individual suffering from the GAD. Now let us move to the next part of our video. That is the what are the proteins and the chemicals that is known as the neurotransmitters. The chemicals are known as the neurotransmitters responsible for the generalized anxiety disorders. So there are two type of proteins. This anxiolytic neurotransmitters and anxiogenic neurotransmitters. So what the anxiolytic? That was the transmitters that reduces the GAD, generalized anxiety disorder. If the level of these neurotransmitters in the body increases, certainly that will be the instrumental in reducing the symptoms and the intensity of the generalized anxiety disorders. These are the GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, then adenosine, that is neurotransmitter, then melatonin, and the that is neuroactive steroids. So these are the four neurotransmitters that are likely to decrease the generalized anxiety disorders. Now, what are the anxiogenic neurotransmitters? The neurotransmitters, if their level increases in the body, or there is some disbalance in the body, certainly they are going to increase the occurrence of the generalized anxiety disorders. That one is the glutamate, then serotonin, acetylcholine, then the cholecystokinin, and the corticotropin releasing hormone. So these are the anxiogenic disorders that are likely to increase the occurrence of the generalized anxiety disorders. So moving to the next, what are the risk and the prognostic factors associated with the occurrence of the generalized anxiety disorders? First one is the temperamental one. These are the behavioral inhibition, negative affectivity, that is neuroticism, and the harm avoidance have been associated with the GAD. I mean, they are found to associate with the generalized anxiety disorder, the temperamental one. The second one is the environmental. See, except some childhood atrocities or the overprotection by the parents, there are no significant environmental factors or components found to be highly correlates with the environmental, that is generalized anxiety disorders. Means there are no environment factors that contribute to the generalized anxiety disorders except the individual face some adversities during the childhood or the overprotection given by their parents. And the third one is important, that is risk factor, is the genetic and physiological. You know, dear friends, 1/3 people who are suffering from the generalized anxiety disorder shows that they have the genetic structure. Means 1/3 of the risk of experiencing GAD is genetic, and these genetic factors overlap with the risk of neuroticism. Means these factors that are prone to GAD, genetic factors, they get overlap with the neuroticism and are shared with other anxiety and mood disorders, particularly major depressive disorders. The symptoms or the factors that leads to the GAD also overlaps with other psychological disorders and generally with the anxiety and mood disorder and depressive states. So these are the three risk and prognostic factors associated with the GAD. Now, what is the diagnostic criteria to whom we say that particular individual is suffering from the generalized anxiety disorders? The individual with chronic anxiety who is eligible for the specified GAD criteria and does not meet the criteria for any other anxiety disorders or any other mental disorders should be diagnosed as the suffering from the GAD. Before pronouncing an individual with GAD, the cultural and gender factors must be taken into account, because these factors too, I told you, gender, that the female are more likely to suffer from the GAD than male, and there are some cultural factors that significantly affect the generalized anxiety disorders, that is GAD. So before pronouncing an individual with GAD, these factors also to be considered. Along with that, there are certain more diagnostic criteria given in the DSM-5. I have taken all this from that. Then excessive anxiety and worry occurring more days than not for at least 6 months about a number of events or activities. Means minimum criteria for occurrence of these all GAD symptoms is 6 months. Means that has to occur more than 6 months. If that is the criteria, then safely we can diagnose with the individual suffering from the GAD. The second one is the individual finds it difficult to control the excessive worry. Means that individual cannot control that worry. In that case, it is a clear-cut symptom and sign of the GAD. Then the symptoms cause clinically significant distress or impairment in social, professional, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. Means the individual, the domain of the various domain of the individual, they also get suffers due to the generalized anxiety disorders. If then they get suffers, uh, conversely, we can tell that the individual is suffering from the GAD. The next criteria is that is diagnostic criteria. The anxiety and worry are associated with 3 or more of the following 6 symptoms. There are 6 symptoms that is given below. Out of that, if you find that individual is showing at least 3 symptoms, then safely we can club that individual with the patient of the GAD. And for children, only one symptom is required to pronounce that the child suffering from the GAD. First one is the restlessness, then the being easily fatigued, difficulty in concentrating, irritability, muscular tension, and the sleep disturbances. There are 6 major physiological symptoms or that activities that are shown by the individual suffering from the GAD. Out of these 6, only 3 are required to diagnose a person with suffering from GAD, and for children, only 1 is required. Finally, the disturbance is not due to, means these symptoms are not due to, or there is a disturbance in the daily life, occupational life, social life, or professional life, are not due to the any physiological effect of substance, that is drug abuse or medication or any other medical conditions. If this is the criteria, certainly, my dear friends, we can diagnose the individual with the suffering from the GAD. Now, all with this, one more, the disturbance is not better explained by the another mental disorder. This is one of the criteria given the GAD, the DSM-5. Now, after discussing all these things, so let us go for some characteristics of the GAD. So these are points I've collated from various books and materials, so and given at one place. So by reading these characteristics, you can get the overview of the GAD. Now, social worries are common GAD. This is the first characteristics of GAD. Then excessive and uncontrollable worry. This is the key feature, key characteristics or key component of the GAD. That is known as apprehensive expectation. It is a defining symptoms of GAD which has shifting nature from one topic to another. Means your worry, sometimes individual worrying on the something that today there is raining, this rain will flood my areas and certainly we are going to be flooded and we are going to die. At that next moment you will say that no, this is excessive heat is or that the snake I've seen yesterday is going to bite me while I sleep. So that in that GAD, the shifting, the nature of worry shift from one topic to another very easily. And the third characteristic is it leads to distress and impairment in daily life, which I told you earlier. The worries typically interfere significantly with psychological functioning. Certainly, worrying is a psychological uh, domain, comes under the psychological domain. If that is the excessive one, certainly your cognitive resources are used excessively and they likely to interfere with your psychological functioning. The worries are more pervasive, pronounced, and distressing, have longer duration, and frequently occur without precipitants. So this is the point where the certainly what type of worries are that defines the GAD. Then comes the GAD rarely occurs prior to adolescence, means it affects or it strikes mostly in the adulthood or young adult or the little bit older adults. The clinical expression of GAD is relatively consistent across the lifespan. Across your life, the manifestation of the symptoms of GAD are always, you say, consistent or sustained one. So, my dear friends, the third and the last characteristic, or third is the eighth and last characteristic is the GAD manifests more severe symptoms in younger adults than the uh, older adults. Means if someone is suffering from the sleeplessness, so younger adults likely to suffer more intensely sleeplessness than the uh, older adults. These are the characteristics of the GAD. Now, what are the functional consequences of the GAD? My dear friends, GAD ensues the following psychophysiological consequences in a patient. The first one, it impairs the individual's capacity to do things quickly and effectively because your all cognitive resources, physiological resources are engaged in worrying, other activities, intense fear. Certainly, your quality of work get impacted and influenced, that is negatively. And the second one is the worrying consumes time energy, leading to the tiredness, difficulty concentrating, and disturbed sleep. Because your energy, psychological energy and physiological energy is consumed by the your worrying, and in that case, it have detrimental effect on your functions, your activities, and your productivity. Then generalized anxiety disorders is associated with significant disability and distress because it creates a kind of distress or disability in the body because your resources are consumed by the symptoms of the GAD. Then it leads to psychological fatigue due to the excessive usage of cognitive resources, which I told you means you feel psychologically tired. Now, if with all these things with GAD, what is the treatment possible? Yes, treatment is possible for the GAD. The appropriate medication and behavioral therapy jointly can cure the mental illness or the GAD. What's one? The cognitive behavioral therapy. Modification of maladaptive cognition means if the CBT is given in right perspective and is right intensity and quantity, certainly it is going to cure the GAD along with the other medications. That is antidepressants. Not only the psychologist is not authorized to prescribe the medications. Psychologist is only authorized to for psychotherapy and other behavioral therapies, whereas the psychiatrist is authorized or legally binding to write the medications, or not binding, but he is only eligible to write the medications, prescribe the medications for the particular disease. So, or any other psychological disorder that requires the medication. The third one is the yoga. New York University Grossman School of Medicine proved with the research that yoga is a very potent, have therapeutical therapeutical impact on the GAD. So, see, cognitive behavioral therapy, medication, and yoga. These are the three important components or the treatment criteria that can be given to a person suffering from the GAD, and they certainly elevates the GAD. Then the relaxation technique, such as the breathing exercises, relaxation strategies, and meditation. Why it is that? Because these all are mentioned in the yoga, different type of relaxation techniques, that is pranayam, kundalini yoga, and sudarshan kriya. These are all the relaxation techniques, and these are generally the therapeutic and the preventive techniques that are practiced from the thousands of years in the India, and various study research has proved that they are very much potent and effective in treating the various not only psychological disorders, physiological problems also. And my dear friends, this combination of psychotherapy, medication, and relaxation techniques can cure an individual from the GAD or generalized anxiety disorders. So these are my references. You can cross check them. So to study these disorders and mental problems, you must study various ICD-10, DSM-5, and the various books which are mentioned by me here. So now, next we are going to discuss, my dear friends, the phobia. So if you like this video, share with your friends. If you dislike it, or if you want to say something to me, share with me. You can share through my my comment box, or you can email me directly at vamasudit@yahoo.com. Thank you, dear friends, for watching this video.